it's estimated that about 50% of the drones just start to spontaneously ejaculate and die.
That's
So,
a disgusting picture.
Looks like
that's what it looks like. That's a drone that is
Holy
ejaculated,
moly.
is one nut. It's supposed to go in the queen, but it was just hot.
When your nut's half the size of your body, it's going to hurt coming out.
how does the queen survive that?
Yeah, she was a
likes
bukkake.
She takes
German.
a bunch of those too.
Jesus.
German, yeah.
Wes, she
Bad
takes a
girl.
whole bunch of those. I mean, every drone gives her his
My
his
God, I have new respect for queens.
thing. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Bad girl.
That's its entire insides.
You are!
There it is.
Hell yeah, boss!
Oh, hey!
Oh yeah! Good morning!
And welcome to episode 888 of Hard Factor. That's right, 888. Monday, February 28th, 2022. Thank you for cheating on the news with us. We got Mark, Pat, Wes, and I'm Will, all the hosts today to talk about what, Mark, in the cup of coffee?
All Ukraine, Russia. Pretty much 100% Ukraine, Russia. I would like to say, I mean, we'll get to other stuff later in the week, but I mean, come on. I would like to say I might play the pick 3 Texas Lotto and go 888 today. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
There we go.
It's a lucky day.
Pat had once asked me about what 888 meant in the Vietnamese culture, because one of the best Vietnamese restaurants in town is 888. And it's if you name your business like with those numbers, it brings prosperity to the business. There's a bunch of different numbers like 888, 666. I think even 666 is one of them.
666. Hell yeah. Yeah, that Vietnamese joint
Mark
we're talking
of the
about.
Beast. Yeah.
Shit's been open for at least 20 years too.
Well, it's delicious.
It's
You know what I'm
pretty good.
saying?
They have a
Best
good lunch
curry in town.
buffet. Good lunch buffet at that 888.
And good prices.
I don't want to be nitpicky, but during the pandemic, their hours weren't as flexible as they normally are.
Well, they're not a very flexible management staff, I'll tell you that. They
I'm just saying.
Also 888 is one of the funny places where the lady judges you based on the size of your order. She definitely is like the lady who
Well, it's a
gives
buffet,
out
Will.
the to-goes.
It is
the
a half
to-go
buffet.
orders.
Yeah.
The half buffet is
Yeah.
when you dine in. The to-go order lady, though, you got to go up to the bar.
Don't
And
they have
she-
those ridiculously large round
Yeah.
tables too? Like who?
She judges
who
you
has a
based
part?
on your
Who has a party of 16 these days? You know.
It's popular. After lunch or after church, Vietnamese church, you're going to 888.
Okay.
You'll
I
get
guess
like a
that's
little
why.
scoff if you order like an appetizer and an entree just for one person. This you? Uh-huh.
They have mirrors too. They have mirrors everywhere so they can point out the people to judge them with the staff. Like, right? Yeah.
I thought it was you. I thought this one was you.
Bring a water to Sweaty.
Yeah. You see him over there. He can't see you, but you can see him.
888, man. Classic restaurant.
Yeah, it's good.
Prosperity.
Anything big happen this weekend, or should we just get into this?
I got a
fuck-
fridge.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the fridge. Saw that. Nice, Pat.
Sucks.
What? I saw it was short.
It's a
Kind
shitty fridge.
Sucks
little-
ass.
What's
Is
that
it
about?
it's like a garage fridge.
Sucks, man.
Did Theodore come and help
Yeah.
you deliver? Yeah.
He didn't take a step inside. He knew better.
You don't like it? What's wrong with it? No freezer?
Man, it fucking is rolling all over the place, man.
Oh, it's like got a
We'll have to
slick
get some
bottom.
stoppers for it.
Oh no.
No water.
Oh, yeah, no ice machine. That's for sure.
No ice machine, though.
Oh shit!
damn.
They got you the real shittiest fridge.
Oh, man.
It's like a
literally.
giant cooler.
This fucking lady, man. This fucking lady. I went to the Home Depot. I went to the Lowe's. There was fridges in stock, just not in her shit ass price.
Oh,
range.
for sure.
Yeah.
There was absolutely actually one correction from Friday before you jump off, Mark, and it actually has to do with Ukraine, so it's a good segue.
Okay.
From Rick Nasty. So we were talking about the fog of war, the fog of war, and what that means. And Rick Nasty, listener, he came in and he said it's actually from a Prussian general named Karl von Clausewitz, and it refers to things being constantly chaotic when at war. And Rick would know because check out these pics of when he was training the Ukrainian army in the Donbass
hell
the last couple
yeah,
of years.
Rick.
That's ground to air defense, tanks, strategy. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Rick Nasty.
I mean, it does mean uncertainty too.
Sure.
Okay, why don't you
Because of
bring it up when
chaos.
we talked about it the first time?
I did.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I said.
Constantly chaotic. Yeah.
It's a
Whatever.
cool update with the Rick pictures.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
did you train the Ukrainians on how to take down Russian jets? Like
No, but
Yeah.
I can read it.
Okay.
I can read a definition.
you did call fog of war. Okay. All right, but
I can sympathize. I can't empathize.
That's right. Yeah.
Got it.
You try to one up me, Mr. Brains.
All right, fuck it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time.
Okay, today's fun fact before we get into a little bit of holidays, a little bit of this day in history, and then straight to the cream of the crop. Today's fun fact is that Russian President Vladimir Putin likes to have meconium rubbed all over his face during sex, which usually lasts about 4 seconds for him. So it's true. This is verified. He can't get us for slander on this one because he'd have to testify that he doesn't have baby shit wiped all over him while prematurely ejaculating during sex, and that would be lying under oath. So we're safe.
good luck,
They
Vlad.
must
That's
love
the fun
soft
fact.
pretzels.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the fun fact. Vladimir
Meconium.
Putin gets that meconium shit on his face. 'Cause
Disgusting.
He loves it. He loves it. Holidays.
Sick puppy.
He is.
The
Holidays. It was-
sickest, really.
He is. It's, I mean, eating diapers over there. Holidays. It was my mom's birthday yesterday on Sunday. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you. All right.
yeah.
There we go. And today's holidays are, let me pull up the holidays. Here we go. They are Car Keys and Small Change Day. Okay. Floral Design Day. Global Scouse Day, which is like a meat stew from England.
I think it's souse.
Souse?
Is it-
Okay.
is it-
Global
no,
Souse?
you're right. Scouse.
Scouse? Yeah. It's like some meat stew from Liverpool, but
Looks gross.
yeah, I mean, UK food's not the best.
With the name like Global Scouse Soup.
Fish and chips is good. International Repetitive Strain Injury Awareness Day, Linus Pauling Day. Linus Pauling is the only person to win 2 individual Nobel Peace Prizes, not those things, you know. He's a chemist from Oregon who worked out the nature of the chemical bonds, no big deal, discovered among many things the cause of sickle cell anemia, developed an accurate oxygen meter for submarines, helped create synthetic plasma, determined the structure of proteins, and was also a famous advocate for peace. So, yeah, Linus Pauling, pretty good dude.
He's
then
right
it's
up there with Rick Nasty.
Yeah, he's,
Now you're attacking the guy.
yeah, that's attacking Rick. Oh, it's National Chocolate Souffle Day, National Cupcake Day, National Public Sleeping Day, National Science Day, National Tooth Fairy Day, Play More Cards Day, Rare Disease Day, and Shrove Monday. So there you go.
You know, I'm just kidding, Rick.
Yeah, I think
Sounds
I
like
think
it.
you are, man.
Yeah.
Clearly, I am.
I hope Rick shows up to Florida. Wes wouldn't even shake his hand or look at his eyes. April 7th.
Fog of War,
Florida
huh?
April 7th, St. Petersburg. Hope to see you all there. This day in history, hopefully in 2022 on this day in history, Russia withdrew from Ukraine. Am I right? Just trying to send that energy out there.
Yeah.
That'd be
Hopefully,
good,
if not
right?
today, very soon, right? Also, in 1991, the Persian Gulf War did end on this day. Look at that. There's precedence. And even more interesting on this day in 1986, Sweden's infamous Prime Minister Olof Palme was assassinated. So a big foreign leader over on that side of the world got taken out. Maybe history repeats itself. To
Well,
a certain dictator.
There are certainly a lot of Russians coming out saying, like, hey, like billionaires being like, well, maybe we should rethink this whole thing.
Maybe they should
Not going
drag
so
him-
hot,
Maybe
but-
they should drag him to the streets of Moscow, hang him upside down on one of his statues, cut his
Hey, Mark.
balls off, and shove him in his mouth,
It's a good point.
Mussolini style.
Has the window watch been transferred?
I think we should do a window of Putin getting pushed out of a window. So to
Right.
speak,
The
which
window.
include-
The
yeah,
window
yeah.
went. We gave the window to Russia.
Yeah.
U.S. handed the window.
Russia
off.
has a window. Putin. Yeah, let's do it. All right. And in 1983, the final episode of MASH aired, and in 1901, Linus Pauling, the unbelievably good chemist I mentioned earlier, was born. So there you go. And there are no.
Wait, so he
honorable
won a
mentions.
Nobel Prize on his birthday?
No. He won 2 Nobel Prizes in his lifetime. He was born 1901, February 28th.
Yeah. Went on to win.
The holiday was for him.
Oh, okay.
Holidays for him because he was born today.
Oh, okay.
And no
beast mode with
no
the mark
honorable
of the
mentions.
888.
No number 3 or number 2. I'm sure we'll cover some other news in the coffee later this week, but no one cares about anything except for today.
The cream of the crop!
That's right. The number 1 story is, of course, the full-blown Russian invasion of Ukraine, or Russia's war on Ukraine in Ukraine. We're gonna go over a lot of the highlights from what happened this weekend since we last talked to you. And guys, feel free to interject on any thoughts, add-ons, or things I have missed. But before we dive in, I just wanted to say how incredibly impressive and inspiring the people of Ukraine are, as well as being sad for what's happening to them in their own land, being shelled and mortared and gunned down, run over with tanks in their streets. Their spirit and resolve has been the stuff of legend. Vladimir Zelensky, their president, is asking for ammunition, not a ride, when being offered a safe passage to another country. He's standing in the front lines fighting with his people, something Putin would never, ever do. The Klitschko brothers, Vitaly and Vladimir, like 50-time heavyweight boxing champions between the two of them of the world, that along with Lennox Lewis dominated that heavyweight division for like over a decade recently in like the 90s and early 2000s and stuff. They're fighting in the front lines. They're multi-millionaires with houses in the U.S. and other countries, I'm sure. One's married to Hayden Panettiere, and they're just fighting in the goddamn streets.
So is Lomachenko.
Yeah.
And also, not Usyk, I don't think he's fighting, but he's in Ukraine, and
And some guy who just like won the Bellator light heavyweight title. He just fought this weekend, and now he's going back to his home country of Ukraine to fight in the war after winning.
Gotta say,
Lots
that's a
of good
hot
boxers.
that's a hot seat on Ukrainian-born Louis C.K., who was in Ukraine.
He was
in Ukraine to do some shows that he got canceled.
Should have stayed and fought. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a bit of a hot seat for him.
He could just distract the Russian guards by jerking off. You know,
Yeah.
oh, what's that guy doing over there? It's Louis C.K. pants.
Louis
down.
owes it to Ukraine to fight.
Aren't
with
you
them.
canceled?
Yeah.
I can see
He's
why.
got
now.
to. Yeah, he's got to make up his name there for him. So
Maybe he wasn't born in Ukraine, but he's Ukrainian.
Yeah. And outside of Louis C.K., all those people I mentioned, that's just like an accurate representation of all Ukrainians, it seems, all the way down to grandmothers who are willing to pick up machine guns for the first time or tell a Russian soldier to his face to go home now, or we will stick sunflower seeds in your pocket so that sunflowers will grow over your dead bodies when you die in our lands. That's just the Ukrainian people. They fought more than valiantly and inspired the world, and Vladimir Putin has made a severe underestimation of their resolve and tenacity and is now fucked because the world is joining in, and they're pretty much all taking Ukraine's side. So what's happened since we last talked? Well, Russia has been attempting unsuccessfully to invade the two major cities in Ukraine east of the river. That's the capital, Kiev, and the second city, Kharkiv. And so far at the time of this recording, they're unsuccessful on both, something that reportedly has made the short Russian dictator fume from his castle as he thought he could take all of eastern Ukraine in 1 to 3 days. So I think we're on like day 5 or 6, and knock on wood, that hasn't happened at all.
That. Well, also, why did he wait on the border for a month before going in? Why didn't he send everything he had in the first 3 days if he thought he could do it in 1 to 3 days?
Well, that probably
Like,
why
he
is
totally miscalculated.
That's probably
this
why.
whole
Well,
thing.
if you wait on the border for 3 days, that probably gives you a better chance of planning and having everything set up perfectly. I mean, that's a huge. It's a huge.
Nah, you should do it either by surprise. This guy.
It's a huge
wrong.
undertaking. It's a massive undertaking what he's doing.
He's obviously done it all wrong, though.
He overestimated. Here's a map of like in the red you can see here. This is where Russia does control in Ukraine, and Kharkiv in the top right, and they're right on the border. And so Kharkiv is a city with 1.5 million people. It's 30 miles from the border of Russia. And I think that's one city that Putin thought he could take easily, and it has not been the case. Here's a quote from regional governor Olay Sinahobov of Ukraine. He said, quote, "Control over Kharkiv is completely ours. The city is being completely cleansed of the enemy," after Ukraine took a victory on Sunday and forced the Russians out of Kharkiv. So, damn. I mean, It's crazy. Yeah. Numbers coming out so far all over the place in terms of like death toll and tanks and planes that have been shot down and stuff. A few things, I'm not going to give numbers.
Fog of war, right, Mark?
Exactly. I'm not going to give specific numbers because they're all over the place. But a few things
about him, yeah.
I was having fog of war about Louis C.K. He's Hungarian.
He's Hungarian.
But he was over there.
Close enough. He was over there doing comedy, or was trying to, but I guess they got canceled. A few things that are important to note, though, that seem to be true, whether the numbers are all over the place, is that the death toll is going up rapidly each day on both sides, sadly, including including Ukrainian civilians. And it also seems like Russia's taking the heavier losses, both in deaths and heavy military equipment, tanks, planes, and cars and stuff being destroyed. So Ukraine, while taking some losses and civilian losses, is doing a better job so far in the war than Russia is. And one of the reasons... Go ahead.
Oh, please, Mark.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I brought this up to Kate. We were talking over the weekend about, it's obviously very upsetting I imagine any veteran of the United States wars, any veteran period, right? War hits them a little bit different. We were chatting about it, though.
For sure.
I was like, they're just going to get fucking crushed, man. This is horrible. And Kate was like, I would have said the same thing about our invasion of Afghanistan, but instead we couldn't beat them. And I was like, well, wasn't that the mountainous terrain? She goes, no, it was the will of the people.
Yeah, an armed populace. That watching this has made me think so much about how fucked anybody would be who tried to land invade the United States. You would get murked in the United States trying to come up in here. Like every house is its own defense, like shelter. It's
go ahead and land. Go ahead and land on the beaches of Florida. Someone.
Right.
One big militia.
Exactly. Every neighborhood is just a fucking landmine.
It's not a good idea. And along those lines, one of the reasons that, Ukraine's doing so good is that every single Ukrainian that stayed to fight has either a gun or several Molotov cocktails or both. So they are all armed. Training sessions on how to make Molotov cocktails have been going on all weekend and before, and they learned quickly. A brewing company in Western Ukraine, on the other side of the, closer to Poland, Pravda Brewing has stopped bottling beers completely. They're not taking any profit and started distributing bottles and materials and making Molotov cocktails for the citizens and helping them make Molotov cocktails. And these things are getting chucked at Russian tanks like none other. They're taking out Russian tanks with these things.
They really took to it. Those Molotov cocktails.
It's been good so far for him. I would play you some of the videos of the things I'm mentioning, like the tanks getting taken out, but there's so many videos and it's hard to tell which ones are real, which ones are fake. There's a lot of viral videos that are fake, potentially from 2014 or other conflicts.
You guys hear about the ghost of Kiev?
Right. Is he fake? Is he real? Yeah, the ghost of
Adam Kinzinger says he's so real.
Yeah, that was a picture. The picture he put up was a picture of a famous prankster. That certainly wasn't the ghost of Kiev. The picture he put up was he's like
glasses.
That guy was like the guy who does the sports videos with the volleyball keeps hitting him in the face, or he's the goalie and the ball keeps hitting him in the face in the PK. He's like that type of prankster. There are a lot of interesting videos out there. If you want to check Twitter and Instagram, you could get in a rabbit hole. But I'm not going to play any.
I wonder why. Is it
Sam
just
Hyde?
They were saying about the Ghost of Kiev, it's too early for like legends to come out of the war. But I've been checking a lot of the I know the New York Times has 5 journalists over there or 6 journalists or something like that. But I haven't been seeing official videos. I wonder why that is. Normally during war, the outlets, the big outlets are there, and you can be like, oh, that's a video from New York Times. That's a video.
They'll verify it. Yeah,
right.
Videos. Right.
But I haven't been seeing a lot of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems
they're probably overwhelmed with the amount of fake videos too. I don't know. I think the Ukrainian government is probably behind it, but somebody is behind a propaganda campaign to release a shitload of fake videos from this.
For sure.
It's also a very active war zone. To get that kind of footage would be very dangerous.
Right. Yeah, the 2 videos that caught my eye today out of the many on Sunday, was the guy who was smoking a cigarette carrying a landmine casually.
That was awesome.
A badass Ukrainian. And then there was a drone video of, I don't know if it was real or not, but a drone took out 4 Russian tanks and cars. It was pretty interesting. So anyways, let's move on to how the other countries or the world's helping or getting involved. First off, the bad. Belarus, who's butt buddies with Russia and also has a psychotic dictator that thinks he can play hockey, was close to declaring war on Ukraine on Sunday. At least some reports were saying that. Not sure if that's true or how close they were. Right, Lukashenko is going to follow Putin all day. But later on Sunday, it was announced that Ukraine's President Zelensky and some officials would hold peace talks with Russia in Belarus with no preset expectations, and Zelensky's admitting that he expects them to be futile. And it sounds to me
he's going to go.
Yes, he's still going to go, and it sounds to me it's a scenario that seems like a more obvious ambush than when William Wallace met those Scottish lords. Right. You know what I mean? In Braveheart,
they burned him in the tent. Tried to burn him in the tent.
Yes, and then it's even more obvious.
I haven't seen it yet.
Than Khashoggi meeting with the Saudis. Yeah, you gotta see the fucking. Come on, 1995.
Come on, man.
Anyways, so good luck there, Zelensky. We need leaders like you to stay alive, good sir. So don't get sabotaged there. Also, some Chechens have been fighting with Russia, which is just absurd after all the history they've had. Those little bitches. And outside of that, and ignoring the fact that China may be doing some quote military exercises on the sea near Taiwan, which we'll have to save for a later date. And outside of like Brazil's Bolsonaro being like, we're going to stay out of this. Most of the rest of the world, it seems like, is on Ukraine's side and has in some way come to their aid, whether it be sanctioning Russia, providing military weapons, soldiers, or safe haven to refugees, of which there might be upwards of 4 million Ukrainian refugees from this. When
China won't even call it an invasion.
Well, what about those bitches, India?
They abstained from the vote. They
abstained from the vote in the UN, which was further sanctioned. And so I guess because Russia's a permanent UN.
Well, they're the head of the Security Council right now, so they were able to.
They vetoed the sanctions for the UN, but India was like, they were just absent from the vote. You know who else was absent? China. It's like piece of shit.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. But places like Poland have been taking in Ukrainians, no question asked, allowing their dogs and cats and pets to come in without quarantine and just giving them food and shelter, and other nearby countries are doing that as well, which is great because there are a ton of Ukrainian refugees and will continue to be.
Speaking of other countries, even the Taliban came out and spoke against. They were like,
really?
They're like, you thought we were bad. No,
they said that the Russia.
This is disgusting.
Yeah,
this is a strong PR move.
Yeah,
Taliban.
Here's some screenshots of major cities around the world.
They said resolve this crisis through dialogue and peaceful means.
Yeah. Look at all these places around the world, major cities: Berlin, Amsterdam, Prague, Madrid,
Russia, right? Tons
Milan,
of Russia. 2,000 people
New York,
arrested in Russia.
London, France, Paris, France, Athens, Greece. I mean, Warsaw, Poland. There were so many massive protests and supports for Ukraine in the largest cities around the world. Pornhub has banned Russian IP addresses from logging into Pornhub. No free internet porn for Russia while they attempt to start a world war. That's great stuff from Pornhub, right? Also, several countries, including the U.S. and Canada, stopped selling Russian brand vodkas. Also, almost every country in Europe banned commercial and private planes. There's a huge full air ban of any Russian plane, military, commercial, private jets. All the rich oligarchs have to stay in Russia and watch their markets crash. Look at this map of places that are like, your planes cannot go anywhere near our fucking air.
Couldn't they just totally resolve this by just flipping Smirnoff with whatever the top Ukrainian vodka is around the world, and then that would pretty much over time just totally reverse this whole thing?
Well, Svedka, Tito's, Tito's.
They're pouring out the Russian vodka.
Tito's got enough, man. Tito.
No, we should take the Ukrainian one, and then that funds Ukraine.
Yeah.
Tito's a billionaire of vodka, bro, in 6 years. And he also one time I went to a fucking little event he had for the service industry to ingratiate everyone to his fucking vodka, and he sat there and he's like, I know what it's like to be poor. When I left the oil and gas business to start my vodka, I was sleeping on couches, and I was like, "Fuck you."
It
left the oil.
Looks like so here's some Chekhov is Ukrainian.
Okay.
Chopin is Ukrainian.
Chopin.
Vodka brand.
Let us know the reviews. Some of those might be a little harsh.
Mark, I don't know if you saw this story. Speaking of the oligarchs and stuff, but there's this story that's out that I think is real about a Russian oligarch's yacht that was sunk. It was in Majorca and at port, and they found out whose it was, and a bunch of Ukrainians, or I guess the people that work there, went and just sunk it. It's called the Lady Anastasia.
Yeah, no, I'm sure a lot of that stuff's going on. Delta Airlines also completely cut ties this weekend with their Russian partner Aeroflot. So Delta said no more working with you, Aeroflot. So they're really hitting the airlines hard there.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you invade somebody out of nowhere, and then the whole world has to watch you try to take over their entire country for over a week.
These are all good. I hope more of this type of stuff happens. Speaking of market crash, finally some action has been taken to remove Russia from SWIFT international banking. And at this time, I would like to admit I do not know a whole lot about SWIFT banking, other than Russia would prefer to remain in it. They're like, please don't. I guess SWIFT is it moves billions and billions.
Transfers.
Yeah, billions of dollars a day through 11,000 international financial institutions, right? It's And I guess the U.S., U.K., and some European countries finally nutted up and agreed to block some, but not all Russian banks from continuing to be a part of SWIFT.
Probably not that gas, huh? They still have laid off the energy.
Yeah, they didn't go full on it. This weekend, a move some economists said could tank the entire Russian economy by 5%, just that SWIFT move.
I know that sometimes when you're filling out a bank transfer form, it'll ask you for either your SWIFT number.
It's like a SWIFT ID type deal. Yeah.
That is true. I didn't think about that. And yeah, I mean,
I'm like, I don't have one of those. Here's my account number and my routing number.
It's Vlad Putin, that, so, you know.
You can see my college money was well spent. Finance major. Learned how to party. What else? NATO, for the first time ever, enacted ground troops to help Ukraine. That's, finally. I saw something like 8,000 U.S. troops and several thousand from other NATO countries. Germany supplied like 400 rocket launchers to Ukraine. Several bordering countries are having people just join the fight for Ukraine, like Latvia,
they're just walking in.
Estonia, Poland. I think they're all just like signing up to join, and Ukraine's accepting them. They have a process. You can go through their foreign ministry. You can grab a machine gun. You can join the fight. Bring your own machine gun from your own country. It's a BYOM G party. Lots of good things are happening in terms of support for Ukraine, and will continue to hopefully even like ramp up. So that's good. How about this incredible act from one Elon Musk, a man I will admit I have not seen eye to eye with on occasion. Elon is providing access to his Starlink satellites to help give Ukraine internet when their internet was down, to help them coordinate and prevent the Russian invasion. And Elon said that the Starlink satellite internet in Ukraine was activated on Sunday. So that is incredible. About 1 million times cooler than a casket submarine for children in Thailand. But credit where credit's due.
Think about that too, how powerful he is now, because one of the primary tools of like an advanced military is blacking out the internet before you go and invade. Yeah. And now Elon Musk has the power to turn the internet back on for any country that asks him to.
I do think that eventually he's going to end the world as an evil dictator himself. But for now, absolutely brilliant stuff from
Great
Elon.
Move.
I mean, what else am I missing? It's a lot, right? Another bad thing, and sadly might end this story today with doom and gloom stuff, is 2 Ukrainian nuclear facilities were hit by Russian missiles on Sunday, but they were not structurally damaged, and that's a concern because Russia did take control of Chernobyl, and Ukraine has something like 15 nuclear reactors. They're the second largest nuclear power in Europe, I guess, and let's not blow those things up, right? Let's not continue to shoot the nuclear reactors, please. And then on Sunday, Putin, seeing that he's getting his ass kicked, ordered Russia's nuclear deterrence teams to be on high alert. And the word deterrence is misleading there because that's also the teams responsible for shooting nuclear weapons. So he activated the nuclear teams.
Not only that, Mark, I think it happened right before we started recording. He started the process to move nukes into Belarus as well, to house them there.
Which
they can be closer to Europe. So.
And that's the concern. Belarus is probably on their side, definitely on their side. So that makes sense and is not good.
So that's going to be part of the negotiations probably, is like him getting the rights to put nukes. We'll see how that all goes if the negotiations actually are not just bullshit.
That's like when you move nukes to Cuba and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He's moving weapons around. He's being crazy.
That sucks. And then sadly, the biggest plane in the world was destroyed by Russians. Ukrainians loved the dream. Maria plane was destroyed by Russia. No one was in it, but they went to the air base and shot down the biggest plane in the world. And Ukraine says, "Fuck you, Russia. We're going to build it back bigger and better." That's our baby. So yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff's going on. A lot of stuff will continue to go on. We stand with Ukraine. Fuck Putin.
One of the, I don't know if you saw this too, Mark. I don't even know if it's true, but one of the things that I saw over the weekend that was kind of crazy that is going to work against Putin is that the Ukrainians were capturing Russian soldiers, and these
call their parents and stuff.
Yeah, having them call their parents, and the parents are like, we had no idea that they were even fucking in the military. They're also tearing kids, like forcing kids to go in the military, like tearing them from their families.
Yes,
there's a lot of weird reports about what the captured Russians are saying.
The reports coming in that the kids are very young, like 19, and probably
don't want to be there.
Don't want to be there. And we're forced. It's sad. It's sad. Any loss of life is sad. This isn't, not every single Russian's on Putin's side, but they're,
done 2,000 arrests in Moscow of people protesting the war on Sunday, I think. And
I think that number is only going to increase as the Russian market crashes and more videos come out of Russians killing Ukrainians. So I think that in my opinion, that's going to be how this ends is when Russia decides to turn on Putin.
Just
themselves.
turn it. Just lay it down. I mean, like I think there's a lot of people. Like one of these billionaires, I don't know his name. He runs, one of their biggest banks. He came out and he said, "Look, I have family in Ukraine and Russia. This is ridiculous. Why are we attacking? Like I'm worried for my Ukrainian family, but I'm one of the richest Russians in the world." Yeah. It's like he's like, "What are we doing here?" Like it's crazy.
Yeah. So that's the cup of coffee, and I would like to stop talking.
One more thing before we move on. Speaking of all the people that are going to be fleeing Ukraine, the refugees, we have a shirt. Yeah, we have a shirt that we're doing. It's the I Stand for Ukraine shirt. That's what it says on the shirt in Ukrainian. All the profits will go towards our charity that we're going to pick is the International Rescue Committee. And what they do is they provide like temporary shelters. They provide mobile medical clinics and stuff at the borders. So if you buy a shirt, every single penny that is not, production costs or shipping, all the profits will go right to that charity. Just go to store.hardfactor.com, search Ukraine, and you'll find it. It's a pretty dope shirt too. So
yeah, it's nice. Nice design.
I ordered 2 on my own dime. Usually I go in the back end and get free gear from our store. Too. But, I did that. And so I feel a little bit Rick Holty right now. I'm regular Rick Holt, given probably $25 to $30 after
Rick Nasty
costs.
Rick Nasty.
Rick Nasty. Yeah.
It's like you train the Ukrainian army yourself.
Yeah. I feel like fog of war over here. Like I trained
I bought 3. Take that.
Oh,
Rick.
man. Rick. Step it up, Rick. How long ago did he train him? Like 6 months ago? What's he done? What's he done lately? What's he done lately? All right, let's move on.
All right, guys.
Check out the shirt.
We got a fun one, but a short one. Federal officers at the Otay Mesa Port of entry last Sunday, this is into the United States, Estados Unidos, they encountered a 46-year-old man who was driving a tractor trailer, and this guy had a big old shipment of onions. Just a huge amount of onions. Remember when
truckload of onions?
Yeah, remember when Kramer ends up in Seinfeld? He like ends up going through that door, and he goes, "That's a lot of potatoes."
Yes,
it's like that with onions. Upon looking at the man's hold, one Border Patrol officer called over another Border Patrol officer and said, "You ever seen that many onions?" And the other Border Patrol officer said, "Yeah, man, I've seen that many onions." And then the first one goes, "Hey, does something seem a little off to you about these onions, though?" And then the second one, he takes a big whiff. He goes, "Nah, man, I think they're just onions." But that first officer was on to something, guys, right? Because customs officer said, "I don't know, man. This is too many onions."
There's just no reason for this many onions.
Yeah, it's just how many onions?
How could it be only onions? But this surely has to happen where there's a truck of only onions, right?
Yes, every day.
Yeah, the onion truck.
Yeah, well,
it's like the banana boat.
I'm sure that happens, okay? But there's something different about these ones. So he's like, "Why don't you set tight?" And then he calls over a canine officer, tells the driver to set tight. Let me get the canine over here.
You don't want to hear that at the border.
Why don't you set tight? No, you don't want to hear that. And during the exam, shoot. What did he say, sit or set? Did he say sit? Did he tell me to set tight?
Can I text or no phone either?
No, why don't you give me your phone and just set tight there? So during the exam, guys, well, first of all, let me show you how many onions there were. Look at that.
Yeah, that's too many onions.
A lot of bags of onions.
Yeah.
Those are like 20-pound bags of onions, probably like,
they look to be the same color too. It's not like red and yellow and white onions. It's all the same onion.
White onions. Oh, yeah. White onions. Yeah.
That's 14 pallets of onions stacked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whatever bundles high.
How many onions really catches your eye?
The guy's just sweating. He's like, "I knew it. It's too many onions."
I mean, that's a lot of onions, bro. That's
Nobody eats this many onions.
Yeah.
I mean, surely grocery stores.
I mean, I don't know, man. In one hole.
Got it all in one trip, huh?
Yeah. No way.
No way. Set tight.
Why don't you set tight there? So he tells him to set tight and calls over a canine unit. During the exam, guys, a Customs and Border Patrol canine unit screened the truck and the trailer, And the detector dog, he alerted to the shipment. You know what that means when they sit or they point or whatever it is that they do.
Dog's just going
So there was
nuts.
drugs on the truck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, drugs on the truck, not no more, because all the onions were off the truck. Well,
In the onions.
maybe there were drugs in the
They're
onions.
Funyuns.
So the CPP officers, they searched the shipment. They discovered 1,197 packages of methamphetamines mixed with the onions, guys. But the interesting part about this meth is that the meth was made to look like onions.
Oh, that's so dumb.
So they were shaped in small globes with a white covering. They were meth onions.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
so that's ridiculous. So they didn't even smell like onions.
Well, I mean, they
mixed with
definitely
onions.
smelled like onions. Well,
Because they were next to onions.
They were sitting in a fucking big ass thing of onions.
Right.
They smell like onions.
Put that picture back up.
But
Here's
how
the-
many of them were the fake onions?
The ones that are not see-through. So
1,197.
yeah, like why didn't they just wrap all of the real onions like that too? Because that's so
Right.
obvious. You
It's
know?
so
Oh,
No,
those
you
with onion out, like onion.
Either way.
shells.
Wrap.
Just
Yeah.
don't do what they did because that's clearly not an onion.
Right.
The way that's wrapped. Yeah.
I mean, it looks a little bit like an onion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to like. I mean, it doesn't. It looks
But they're
very
like,
different
why?
from the other
They're like,
onions.
they're like, why is this wrapped and the other ones aren't?
Right.
The second
Why
you
is
cut
this
into
one
it, it's meth.
onion wrapped in cloth?
Guys, they were
Yeah.
in the okay, here's
Yeah.
here's a great thing to do. Here's what we're gonna do. In a Fear Factor style television show, I'm gonna give you guys the makings that these drug dealers had.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be like, all right, you have 1 hour to make this methamphetamine look as close to an onion as you can.
I'll
Why
be like,
only an
why
hour?
don't
That's
we
a
do
rush.
something
That's a
other-
rush job.
Yeah. Why don't we do something other than the onions?
If I'm
Just-
moving millions
yeah.
in meth, give me a week to make it look pretty.
I think what Mark is saying is that they look so unlike onions.
Yes.
You might as well just throw in a huge brick of meth inside the onions and
Exactly.
not worry about going through all this trouble.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those stick out like a sore thumb. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What? You guys are idiots.
What do you mean? No, those are bad fake.
Based
onions.
on that picture,
Those are bad.
you're
meth onions.
telling me those two things that are not wrapped.
I want to see
there's-
that one. I
There's
wanna see that
1,000.
one.
There's like 500 onions, and then
Look at
there's
these
two
huge onions.
and then there's
wrapped
two
in
things that are
t-shirts.
wrapped in t-shirt. Yeah, like it looks like not. You're gonna want to open those first if you're the canine cop.
Yeah, they're
You're gonna-
clearly not onions, but
Yeah.
but they
There's
but like
so much
from,
not like onions.
from far enough away. they're
But why
the
wouldn't you
same
make? Why wouldn't you make everything look like that? So then, when the cops opened one, it was an onion. Like you want the cops to
You
like
talking about
continue-
wrapping each individual onion like they have the meth onions?
Yes,
Mark's
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Did you
Vice
see how
versa,
many
but-
fucking onions there are?
Well, do something.
Oh, then you don't get caught at least.
Yeah, you don't get caught.
They're
Give me a-
wasting millions of dollars in meth here.
You know what they should do though? Have you guys ever seen like they have these videos on social media sometimes of like a really good painter painting something
they can
something to
paint
look
the
something
fake
to
ones.
look like it has like
An
you know
onion.
same depth of
3D
perception.
painting or something.
That could work.
Yeah.
Anything besides what they did.
Paint those
Yeah, anything
onions.
but what they did.
I
Yeah,
like the
so
painting idea.
that's
They're all
a
going to
two-
die for that plan. Let's just put it that way.
That
Yep.
picture, yeah, that picture coming out gets them all killed.
Whatever cartel was in charge of that, it's very.
What were you
upset.
thinking?
Yeah.
Very,
That's a $2.9 million haul of meth, boys.
Yeah.
Damn.
See,
What do you
that's
think is
not a good
pricier, the onions or the meth?
Ooh, good question.
Meth.
I'd say it's about equal.
The meth by a lot.
You think? What do you think? What do you think that haul of just onions goes for, Wes?
thing. Not nearly
2.9 million.
Well,
No,
I mean, one onion's what, like 98 cents?
No, more than that, like
Not
bucks.
even.
Let's do the
$1.50.
math here. So, guys, there
way.
are
Sorry,
14 pallets of
$1.50.
onion, okay,
Uh-huh.
and then 7 bindles per pallet, and then there's probably 500 onions per bindle.
More than that, right? More than 500.
Well, you see each kind of how the bindle is like separated into layers on
Listen,
each pallet.
meth is worth way
So that's
more than
50.
the onions.
That's 50,000
Yeah,
onions.
meth
Like,
is just-
conservatively 50,000
Meth
onions.
is just so much more
Yeah.
expensive.
Hold on, let Mark.
Meth-
Let Mark. Let him.
No,
let-
no, yeah.
Quiet.
Begin.
Quiet, please.
It's the
Let
meth.
his brain
It's
work.
the meth. It's the meth.
We're going to sacrifice $4 million worth of onions.
It's about
100%.
it's about 100K or less in
We're going
onions.
to go bankrupt in 3 shipments.
100K in onions is a lot of fucking onions, bro. I mean,
What
if
do
you're
you
the
do
onion
with
guy,
Millions of dollars of onions. You just
Now
throw
you
them
lost. Now you lost the onions too. Now you got the big onions mad at you.
Maybe we should just sell the onions, guys.
Yeah, maybe we should just sell all these onions.
We got a lot of farmers that listen to this show, man. I'll tell you what, you lose $100K your product, and I'm sorry you're not making as good of profits as drug dealers. Losing $100K in onions is something pretty serious.
I bet they can't sell those onions if they were touching the meth balls.
No, they'll sell them.
Yeah.
The top brass over there at the CPB said, quote, "This is not only a clever attempt to try to smuggle in narcotics."
That was sarcasm when they said clever.
One I haven't seen before. But this is also time consuming to wrap narcotics into these small packages designed to look like onions.
But look nothing like onions.
You guys are really.
I think they were having a go at the criminals there.
The driver was arrested and the onions were seized.
Yes. And they were told this was a horrible plan, as the cops were.
Well, they continue to say we've certainly seen narcotics in produce before, but it's unusual to see this level of detail and concealment.
They were like, maybe if it was potatoes, we'd believe this about.
So normally it's shittier than that.
Onions.
You guys are such fucking purists. That's pretty good.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I don't think Pat can just see from the thumb thing. I just think Pat has a problem with shades. You know what I mean? Like that shade of white.
You think he's like colorblind a little bit?
Yeah, I think you're a little bit shade off there.
Me?
Yeah, you. Yeah,
I don't know about me.
Color test.
Yeah.
Talking about me? I don't know about that.
That shade is the same as an onion. We got a problem.
You know, there's a game that just came out where you can test your shade skills. We'll have a little online quiz. We'll test.
It is like it's the color of it's just a white. It's the color of like white paper mache.
5 shades whiter than the real.
And it's also 3 times bigger than the other onions, and the only one's wrapped. So I mean, it's just a lot going on there.
Did you hear? It's not 3 times bigger than the other onions.
Significantly bigger than any other onion.
Did you hear what the CPD guy said?
It's like a pumpkin.
Move on. What is next?
Such a massive
They were bigger, so we wrapped them because they're huge. You know, that's why we wrapped them.
You guys don't know shit.
All right, well, we got to get out of here, guys. You know what time it is?
It's time for the TikTok International Moment.
You're damn right it is. Thank you, Darcel. And today's TikTok International Moment is all about penises. Once again.
Beautiful.
In this one, we got one story about stuff coming out of penises, and then another about stuff going into penises. First up,
is it a long cord again?
Whoa, no, different.
Okay.
New style of going in. First up, we're going to talk about going out, and we're taking it to Canada for this one, to British Columbia in particular, where there was a record heat wave this last summer. You guys remember that? Like the heat dome over Oregon, and then
it was like
Northwest.
120, like
Right.
something crazy. Yeah,
super hot up there. And it had an unusual effect on the bees in the area. You see, bees can't sweat like former Prince Andrew. So the only way that they can cool off is by bringing water into the hive to cool it down, or like fanning themselves with their own wings. But the problem is that Canadian researchers just discovered the last summer that at 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit, heat stress affects a bee's ability to mate. So you guys know drone bees, males, normally die on their ejaculation, their one and only ejaculation they have that they save up for
because they get too hot.
No.
Oh.
They're at 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, they can't do that anymore. It fucks with their ability to mate with the queen.
You guys are talking about 2 different things at the same time.
So they can't even fuck at 104 degrees. Can't fuck.
Right.
But if they could fuck, Will.
No. They couldn't.
But I'm saying if they could fuck, Mark,
die.
Bees just die when they jizz. That's just
And
no
like
matter
their
what,
could
sperm
fuck.
comes out.
temperature.
Yeah, got it.
They would. But the problem is here, by 42 degrees Celsius, that's 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which it did get to in places in the Pacific Northwest this last summer. It's estimated that about 50% of the drones just start to spontaneously ejaculate and die.
That's
So-
a disgusting
That's what it
picture.
looks like.
That's what it looks like. That's a drone that is
Holy
ejaculated
moly.
his one nut. It's supposed to go in the queen, but it
when
was
you're-
just hot.
when your nut's half the size of your body, it's going to hurt coming out.
How
Look
does
at
how does the queen survive that?
that. Yeah, she was a
She likes
bukkake.
She
She's
takes a
German.
bunch of those too.
Jesus.
German, yeah.
Wes, she
Bad
takes a whole
girl.
bunch of those. I mean, every drone gives her his
My
his
God, I have new respect for queens.
thing. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Bad girl.
That's its entire insides.
God
Yeah.
damn.
But so, although this death is hilarious and probably a pretty decent way to go out for these drones when you think about it, like you overheat to an ejaculation and you're done. Like it could be worse.
So bees have the most incredible orgasm on the
The
planet.
one is so nice. But guys, it's an obvious problem that with high temperatures, they can just genocide bees. Since the North American West Coast heat waves, the heat domes and whatnot are expected to increase in frequency based on the current trend. And this last summer killed about 70% of the bees at Emily Huxter's Armstrong, British Columbia. She said, "It was unbelievable. They had all their man parts out." There it is. That was just the line of bees that she collected.
We spent a whole Saturday cleaning up bee jizz.
Yeah. Look at all these guys. They'd all just jizzed to death. And so it's just because it was too hot.
Look at
Another one.
look at the little smiles on their faces.
Do you think? You think that's because it's? I would be willing to bet that inside the queen, it's 40 degrees Celsius. Just
Yeah,
saying.
it's like the perfect.
I bet if you get inside the
39.9.
queen, it's
a
the
good
exact
point, Pat.
temperature as it got
Right
outside.
it is.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And it triggered
42.
something.
Yeah.
She's 107.6 exactly. And that's
Oof.
that's what does it. I think you're onto something. They don't know exactly why. They haven't published a reason. But
I think it solved it.
I think you did too, Pat. While this is bad news for bees in hot locations in the wild, a simple test revealed that putting a 2-inch thick styrofoam lid on top of the hive before closing it up can reduce the internal temperature of the hive by up to 3.8 degrees Celsius or about 7 degrees Fahrenheit. And also keeping just simply a bucket of cool water around close enough where the drones can get to it and bring it back to the hive without popping on the way. Also just fixes the
Yeah.
issue.
Styrofoam's good, but if you put a glass one over, you're going to be dealing with bee jizz for days.
Right. Yeah, you need the styrofoam
Magnifying
to keep it
glass.
Cool.
Yeah.
You don't want to get it any hotter in there. And
wonder if
RIP.
I wonder if they make a noise, like a popping noise. Like,
I mean,
I think
They
we know
have
what noise
to.
they make.
Yeah.
Ah! Oh, yeah. I
do we
wish.
have? Do we
they
have to
jizz
cut
their
that
whole
kid?
bodies out.
I don't know where our orgasm clip went. It's
Where are
unbelievable.
Is it in there? The guy getting a blowjob?
Unfortunately, it's not. But
Uh,
That would
That's
have
pretty-
been
pretty
the time
crazy.
to play it.
but yeah, RIP to the ejaculation drones of the summer of 21. They're true kings who died in the name of science, basically. So
Yeah.
now they know to keep the styrofoam lid on there. That way the drones don't pop it out. Don't
Unbelievable.
ejaculate themselves to death. Now, as promised, on to another international story about a man shoving something into his penis. This time, we're going to Iran. That's right. An unnamed 49-year-old Iranian man checked himself into the hospital in Tehran recently and told doctors that the battery had already been in there, inside his penis, that is, for at least 24 hours. And then after the doctors all laughed about it, they wrote about it in the Medical Journal of Urology case report.
Why are you taking notes? Please.
Yeah. Spell your last name.
So they wanted everybody else to laugh about it too. But unfortunately, not all giggles on this story about a man shoving a AA battery up his pee hole.
what? I think you meant to say AAA, Will.
AA, Pat, unfortunately for him,
Oh.
because the man needed extra repairs because x-rays revealed severe and progressive scarring to his urethra. You can see the picture there on the right,
His
the
tubing?
urethra that is very inflamed.
Oh,
Oh,
Potentially caused by leaked battery acid inside the penis.
was the left how it's supposed to look, and the right was what his looked like?
Yeah, I think the left was his follow-up. We'll get to it at the
Okay.
end.
He's
but
yeah.
got a
left.
whole extra thing going on there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane. So the unnamed man is very lucky he got there in time because the journal said leaving batteries inside the penis for extended periods can cause infection, gangrene, and erectile dysfunction, just completely destroying your dick. So don't do it. Don't shove a battery inside your pee hole. This guy had to get his whole perineum sliced open That's from butthole to
God.
balls.
It's like having a baby.
Yeah, to remove the battery without harming his balls. And then he needed skin grafts from his cheeks and lips to repair the damaged urethra. But luckily for him,
Mid-surgery, they're just like, we should probably just kill him.
It was great. There was a time where it was touch and
they're
go.
like, I think he'd prefer if we kill him. I know he's not awake.
You sure?
But Mark, it's a good thing they went through with it, because luckily for him, after 3 weeks stay in the hospital after that massive surgery and then 6 more months of rest, he was fully recovered. But he did almost rot his dick off with a battery before getting help. Taking it to the internet, at Magnifico9 on Twitter says, AAA, I can see, but AA is taking things a bit too far.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that guy.
Yeah.
At
like
least
the
it wasn't
gauges.
a D,
Yeah, all we got is these D's. He's like in a conundrum.
Somebody's got the D in there.
Oh, you're an amateur. Get me the 9 volt. Let me show you how it's done. Grease up that 9 volt for me.
So it's crazy though. People around the world, they just can't stop shoving shit in their cock holes. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. I want to get to the bottom of that. Like, there's got to be a term for it. Like,
Are any of you guys lying to us? Or any of you guys shoving stuff up your?
They said it's actually this urology case reports thing, the journal. They say it's, sometimes they say people think that they can jam up their dick hole like that for contraception. So they think that they can not get somebody pregnant by jamming something in their dick hole. But most of the time, it's just about a guy trying to get off.
No one getting laid. No one is choosing that as a contraception option.
I'm gonna dam it up with this battery.
Let me stuff something inside my dick.
She'll never know.
I'm gonna dam up my dick hole.
Trillion other things you can do.
This is the best option.
Just looking at the size of the battery.
Yeah.
This will do.
Found it.
Again, it's weird that we have to keep doing the PSA, but no matter what it is, pretty much don't shove it up the pee hole because it's going to cause a problem. So,
good advice.
Yeah,
great advice. Okay, got a little animal corner for you guys to close out this wonderful Monday. First, got an update on the story that Mark covered last week. You guys remember Hank the Tank, aka Jake, aka Chunky, aka Yogi, aka Big Guy. There he is.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Is that real? That's amazing.
That's somebody on Twitter responded to it. Our post about this weekend.
Anyway, yeah, he's the 500-pound bear. Supposedly, he was the sole culprit in over 28 break-ins and damage to 33 homes in the South Lake Tahoe area. Well, now the California Department of Fish and Wildlife has determined that Hank was actually just the fall bear, as they have confirmed at least 3 different bears are linked to the break-ins, and it's great news for Hank, who likely did, probably 90% of them.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, these bears are so looked after now. That was Luis who sent in diabetes thing.
Dude, this makes total sense because if you look at that,
they protect the fuck out of these things, Mark.
You look at that one picture, the good picture of Hank, and then you look at the other quote unquote pictures of Hank. You're like, I mean, I didn't question it because I wanted them to be Hank so bad. I wanted it to be a single bear.
How to get through that window, yeah.
But it's pretty clear it's not the same.
It's just it's just that all the black bears around Tahoe are fat because there's so many tourists. So they just have so much food that they just are all super, super fat.
I'm sorry, but if there's a group of black bears refusing to hibernate and breaking in people's homes, isn't that a problem you want to get rid of?
Oh, it's a problem. They're going to deal with it, Mark, but they're not going to kill any of them.
Right.
What they're going to do. Yeah. What they're going to do is they're going to track them. They're going to tag them, and then they're going to trap them, and then they're going to release them into a more suitable habitat for them, much further away from people, because obviously these bears are problem for people because they have, they've lost the fear because they're going into people's homes.
One rich lady gets eaten, and that changes pretty quick.
Yeah, but these are black bears though, not brown bears. I think that's the thing. It's like they're naturally less aggressive than the grizzlies and brown bears. So
I have just a clip to show you, and the main reason I'm going to show it to you guys is because I want you guys to see who the leader of the Bear League is out there in Tahoe.
Hell yeah!
There's barely a reason to smile these days, but for one bear, there now is. This thick-skinned 500-pound black bear, nicknamed Hank the Tank, was accused of getting his paws involved in a series of house break-ins in the Lake Tahoe area, known to be a natural bear habitat. With windows smashed, fences broken, and more than 150 incident reports of bear break-ins in the area, officials were eager to stop this overbearing forager. The Bear League said it was vehemently opposed to euthanization.
We believe he's one of our neighbors, and he's only doing what he's been taught to do. The bears will usually die trying to get back home.
The bounty
they'll
hunter?
starve
Yeah,
to death because
it looks like
they don't know where to find food.
Yeah.
That's the leader of the Bear League.
That's the leader of the Bear League. She's got shit like Dog the Bounty Hunter shades on, and just bears everywhere behind her.
She
And
had
her,
the same haircut as Dog.
yeah.
That lady would fucking destroy you. She would come and find you if you killed Hank the Tank.
We could get Ann. We could get Ann on the show pretty easily.
I think we could too.
I should go try to find her. I wonder if she lives in Reno. She probably lives up by the lake, but
Yeah. But the California Department of Fish and Wildlife said that they are not going to euthanize any of these bears. They need the public to be on board with this trapping and stuff, because they're going to put traps on people's private property to catch all these motherfuckers. And of course, private residents have to agree to that, to have like a bear trap in the yard. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to study them, and they're going to release them. So no, Hank will not die. None of these bears will die, at least not in the public's eye. But yeah, that's the story they're telling us.
the Hank the Tank wanted poster was the coolest thing I've ever seen in the local store.
So, good news for Hank.
Wait a minute. I think that's Hank.
Yeah, he's pretty big, isn't he?
I do. I am going to try to get up there and look for the Hanks now, especially knowing that there's so many of them. Maybe I can spot one of these fat asses in the wild. Also, just like now, if you ever need a team name for anything, the Tahoe Fat Bears is just like right there for the taking. For any
Great team name.
That is a great team name.
Tahoe Fat Bears, because they're all fat.
Yeah.
Okay, next, let's go to the UK, where a plant-based dog food company called Omni is going to pay one very unlucky owner and one very unlucky owner's dog over $6,000 to try out their food and see just how awful the dog hates it and how sick the food makes the pet, all while keeping track of the dog's bowel movements and the smell of its shit. That is, if they can get the dog to eat it in the first place. So you guys understand that?
You inject a little bit of your own personal opinion into that.
I'm injecting way more later. Just you wait. So the winning applicant will be paid $6,685 to use Omni's plant-based dog food for 2 months and report on the effects the food has on the animal's frequency of bowel movements, poop odor, energy levels, behavior, sleep patterns, weight and fur condition. And I think it's just going to be a whole lot of day 6, still won't eat the food, has lost 20 pounds, sleeps most of the day, won't get up for walks, hasn't had a bowel movement in 4 days, fur falling out, uses all his remaining energy to howl at the window like a distress signal or something. That's probably what the whole thing's going to be.
Won't look at me. It's not best friend anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So now Omni's co-founder, Shiv Sivakumar, who first of all can't be trusted because he's named after a prison tool used for killing rivals, seen here, said customers have reported improved digestion, energy levels, and general health after switching to the plant-based food. Okay, Shiv, who did that study? Your boy Shank?
It's an Indian name.
Yeah, I know, Pat. It's a joke. Shiv also said, quote, not only that, we are getting feedback that their dog's stools have improved in terms of color, consistency, and smell. So what better way to demonstrate
That's
this?
That's a lie.
Right.
You got to assume green and stinkier, right?
Right. Yeah.
Also, it's shit is this shit. I mean, how does it get better? The shit poops. This shit is a shit, right? Like,
it doesn't get better.
This is high quality poop.
Oh man. You just reminded me of 7th grade. Amit Patel was in my my math class, and one particular troublemaker in our class was like, Amit, more like a steak. Burned him down. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Burned him down to the ground, like a meat, more like a steak.
Oh.
Yeah, really shut him down. You thought twice about using his name.
But wouldn't
in class.
that be better? A steak is better.
I don't know. Kenny Curry said that.
Yeah, Kenny got him.
He's a good running back.
Yeah, he also could have been omit, more like include. To omit.
Right, that was a little bit heady for Kenny.
But the funniest thing I found about this whole story was was Omni's Instagram, and the dogs they use for marketing. Like, look at this. These two dogs are clearly pissed that they're about to be fed Omni.
They're not. Come out. Describe the picture. Describe the picture.
Okay, so there are two dogs. They're sitting there with scowls on their face, and there's a bag of Omni at their feet. Clearly, they've been paid.
Which they're not looking at. They don't. They have no interest in the bag of food directly in front of them.
They don't at all. Check this one out. This one just looks sad that it's about to be fed this dog food. This one looks like it's like being like a gun is being held to it to take the picture.
It doesn't. It's not sure about that Omni stick. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. This one, there's a dog. Looks like it's trying to rescue the other dog from eating it because it's got it's trying to pull it away. Yeah,
it's warning the other dog.
This one's just growling because it doesn't. It's just angry at the food. So the marketing team over there at Omni is just doing a great job with their products.
Those pictures were terrible. You gotta have the food out of the bag.
Yeah.
Like, how ugly is the food?
Oh, I don't. It looks like normal dog food.
Not a single picture of the food though. It's all in a bag, and not a single picture of the dog licking, eating it anywhere near the food.
Yeah, it's just the dog's being pissed off. So, applications to make your dog never forgive you for the worst 2 months of its life are being accepted through March 31st. If you want to get on this little promotion and make a quick $6,000. So, that's it. That's the show.
Maybe they should give Omni to all pit bulls, and then they won't like the taste of meat, and then we won't have.
Look, this dog's begging for anything else but Omni.
Yeah, the Omni's right next to it. They're all ignoring the Omni.
I like the vegan pit bull idea, Mark. That's a good one.
I think it could work.
Yeah. We got the wheel.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull it up.
We need to do the wheel.
The wheel.
Wheel time. Wheel time. Oh, hilarious. The wheel website stands with Ukraine. So I'm about to
beautiful
show you that. They're like the wheel of names.
Thank God we didn't pick a Russian wheel company.
Wheel of names stands with Ukraine.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, we chose the right one. All right,
Sweet.
Wes. Mark, everybody on the show tomorrow?
Let's do it. I think so.
All right, here we go. Cup of coffee in the big time. Who's that going to be? Oh, it's looking like
Wes.
Got it.
Wes special.
Are we going to update from your Ukrainian friend?
Oh, yeah. I've been in contact with her. She's trying to get me to help her get her brother out. I've had to send emails to embassies.
Oh, wow.
And shit.
Let's get him out.
Wow.
TikTok International
Well,
moment.
Uh-oh. Like Rick Nasty. Will's TikTok.
I'm taking a little bit of the dynasty back.
Why didn't you mention that when we were busting your balls?
I don't like to brag like Rick, I'm a little more humble than Rick.
He was training the Ukrainian army. Pretty good.
I know. It's a joke. We
Rick's
appreciate what you've done, Rick.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Love
Rick's
Rick.
the man.
Rick can take a joke.
I imagine he can.
I'm sure of it.
Rick's a perfect dude, so I'm pretty sure he can.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
All right, that's Monday's show. Thank you. We look forward to another great week with you. We love you, and have a great fucking day.
Hard Factor. Cheat on the news. Patreon.com/Hard Factor.